fighting blind tasting, spoiling my women friends, sitting at the table with millionaires. The narrative is tax loops, accounts offshore squares. It's not allowed.
Welcome back to Coin Game. Man, if you can see me, press 1, and if you can hear me, press 2. You know our motto over here. We follow a philosophy of top shelf or nothing. If it ain't right, it ain't right, and we'll come back and do it another time. So if you can see me, press 1, and if you can hear me, press 2. Welcome. Hopefully, wherever you are all right. You are good. You are in good hands. You are with people that are loving on you. I got a great conversation today, but I wanted to let you know that this is where you come in ordinary and you leave extraordinary. This is where you come in and you get a whole entire different perspective. Do you know why? It's because this is the #1 home for personal development. We don't gossip over here. We don't vent over here. That's not what we do. We develop the perspective and we develop the mind. So shout out to you wherever you're at in the internet world. This is ministry for the abstract mind, and it's a safe space. Believe me, you're safe here. If you have that out the box perspective, you are safe. I want to let you know that your babies are precious. Your children are precious. So please keep your babies close. And if you got somebody close to you in your life that is loving on you, please let them, because this love thing is real tricky. It's not easy. Some people smarter than you and I have came and failed at this relationship stuff. So if you got somebody that is in your life, please be patient with them. If you're on Facebook, make sure you get your supporter badge. It's that heart thingy right down below. Stop coming here listening to free game. If you're leaving with a different perspective, you owe. Pay your dues. If you're on YouTube, Super Chat is your friend. And if you are on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you at, the Cash App is your friend. And if you are looking for game outside of here and you are looking for someone to help you with your perspective, hit the hotline, 888-565-8734, 888-565-8734. That is the personal development hotline, so I can help you get from A to Z. Cool? Now that we pay some bills, let's get to it. My book of the day, classic book of the day. I went to my stash for this. My book of the day is Confessions of an Economic Hitman. This is a gem right here. This will teach you a lot about United States foreign policy. This will teach you how we have things that we're not supposed to. How do we have fresh fruits in the winter and it doesn't grow here? How are we able to go to certain countries just and be able to do our thing? Well, it starts with the economic hitman. Before they send in the military, they always send in an economic hitman. This book is written by John Perkins. It's a real good book, right? I definitely recommend it. Real interesting perspective, and you'll learn a lot about American foreign policy and how it's done. And maybe you can take some things from this book and you can put it in your own life too. So my book of the day is John Perkins' Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Great book. And I'm also finishing another book, dragging my feet on it, but it's called Social Chemistry, Decoding the Patterns of Human Connection, right? So this is about networking. This is about groups, how to make connections, how to finding out what kind of social personality that you have. So I'm finishing this book, but that's not my book of the day. My book of the day is John Perkins' Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Great book. I definitely recommend it. Check it out when you have the chance. Today's topics, what we are talking about today is slave masters write books. Oh yeah. Stop telling me about slave masters when they write books. You know what that means? That means you can pick their brain. You know what happens if you pick their brain? You can't be a slave. Slave masters write books, a lot of them, right? I want to talk about what's inside the cake that you're baking, the ingredients of the cake, right? I want to talk about your desire and your thirst to be a product so bad. You think like a product instead of thinking like a producer, right? You fight each other, right? You pay attention to all the products. All your celebrities, they're products. Well, we're going to go over some of the owners, right? So you know their names and you can see how it's done. So you can stop having conversations of the product. Even the NBA players are product. The NFL players are product. A good quarterback is good product. A good running back is good product. A good shooting guard, that is good product that you can put on TV, right? So we're going to talk about your desire to be good product. We're going to talk about why you see things from a loser's lens. Why do you see the world from a loser's lens? If I say oppression where, how come it does something to you, right? You see the world through a loser's lens, right? And I want to talk about think alike instead of focusing on looking alike. Y'all focus on looks. Oh, you see, he's black. He's black. No. I go with think alike. That's who I align myself with. The conversation today is blacks been balling. The economic truth about black American blacks, black Americans, or the hidden truth, or the financial truth, or the capitalist truth. But the topic of today is blacks been balling. And it's not an exception when I find one, right? It's not one. It's a list of them. You just don't know them, right? And there's a reason why you don't know about the blacks that ball, because it doesn't fit into the number one religion of the blacks, and that is the victim narrative. The preachers talk about the victim narrative. The politicians promote the victim narrative. Meanwhile, they all live in brownstones, right? They don't preach what they practice. These are very successful people, but what they talk to you about is race. That's for a reason. Why? Because if you get on the same level as them, then they cannot be leaders anymore. Then they are not stars anymore. Because if you got bread, then what matters is their money. Diddy don't matter if you're rich too. LeBron James don't matter if you're rich too, right? When you control politics, Matt Waters don't matter. So it's important to talk to you in a certain type of way to keep you with low self-esteem, to keep you with low leadership, to keep you in a certain type of belief system that's going to make you dysfunctional, because everybody profits off of black dysfunction, right? And when you're running around thinking you're oppressed, most likely you also have some dysfunctional behavior that therapists are making money from, counselors are making money from, the pallbearers making money from, funeral homes are making money from, whoever treats cardiovascular disease is making money from. As long as blacks run around thinking they're oppressed, that is a $1 billion economy. But I'm going to help with dismantling that belief system, because I want to tell you that blacks been balling. And when I say blacks been balling, yeah, they've been balling, counting up, getting money for years and years and years and years and years. But first, before we understand that blacks been balling, we have to understand America, right? And it was established in a different way than you're taught, because you have 3 specific governments trying to be the one that build the new world. And in building the new world, Black history or Negro history or whatever name we are today, it's getting lost inside the history of the 3 governments. And all 3 are different. This is why Negroes from different parts of America are different. Let me show you what I mean by that. Most of you only know the history of the 13 colonies, okay? But there was something else at play going on in America. You had the French here and you had the Spanish here. The Spanish were first. The Spanish are responsible for something called reclassification. It's the Spanish, it's their conquest on why we're called Negro, Black, and Colored. Because when the conquistadors came to America, the Americas, all 3 parts, North, Central, and South, they encountered First Nations people. And these First Nations people had skin like mine, okay? Skin like mine, right? And they called people with skin like mine Negroes. That's Spanish. That is black. That is a reclassification, okay? All right? So the conquistadors came first and they reclassified the people that they were encountering, right? Pizarro and Cortez and in the Spanish conquest is not really talked about, but it's the Spanish conquest that set this whole thing in motion. Britain came later, okay? But the Spanish was first. But when the French got here and the British got here, we was already reclassified as Negro, black, or colored, right? Why is that reclassification important? It's important because when you're reclassified, you don't have a nation anymore. When you're reclassified, you don't belong to a tribe anymore. You are now a color. That is the reason why we call ourselves black, because of reclassification. Another group of people called us black with guns. So whoever has the better technology, they get to win. And you're pulled into their language now. That's why we call each other black. That is not ancient. That is somebody else's ideal. And we have ran with it, okay? But we have to first start with the Spanish, okay? Then you have the French. The French is the purple area. Then you have the green and blue area. This is British territory, okay? This is 3 different governments establishing for power in the New World. And everywhere that's colored, there are melanated people, okay? This is why we are so different. We think we're the same, but we are not. We like to pretend that we're the same, but we are not. We like to say brother, 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 and all that, but we are not the same, because where we developed that because of the conquest of these European nations makes us different, because these nations are different. People from Louisiana are very different than other niggas. They have their own culture. They have their own thing. Many of them are into voodoo. Other blacks look at that as witchcraft, right? The French sexually were different than the Puritans. Spanish people were different than the Puritans, right? So let me bring it up for you so you can actually see what I'm saying, because this is important in trying to understand why we're so different and why the history is so mixed up, because the history is trapped inside of these government differences between these European nations. All right. So what this is a description on the 3 nations and their differences, right? And we developed in these differences. Okay. All right. So you have the English, French, and Spanish conquest. And this is a comparison. Okay. Look at the dates. 1585. This is before 1619. And the Spanish was here way before 1619. Okay. So this is the history of colonial North America, centers primarily around the struggle of England, France, and Spain to gain control of the continent. Settlers crossed the Atlantic for different reasons, and their governments took different approaches to their colonizing efforts. The differences created both advantages and disadvantages that profoundly affected the New World's fate. France and Spain, for instance, were governed by autocratic sovereigns whose rule was absolute. Their colonists went to America as servants of the crown. The English colonists, on the other hand, enjoyed far more freedom and were able to govern themselves as long as they followed English law and were loyal to the king. In addition, unlike France and Spain, England encouraged immigration from other nations, thus boasting its colonial population. By 1763, the English had established dominance in North America, having defeated France and Spain in the French and Indian War. However, those regions that have been colonized by French and Spanish will retain national characteristics that linger to this day. I'll give you an example. I'm in the state of Arizona. Here, many cities in Arizona start with San Marcos, San Juan. You see that also in Texas. That's because of the Spanish. Now, you just heard that England as a nation, when they set up their colonies, were more into immigration, hence Ellis Island. That's why you had so many immigrants coming and pouring into New York, right? Because the English welcome immigration. The French and Spanish did not. Now, the problem with your reparations argument is because y'all saying the American government owes you something when it was 3 nations that established itself here. That's the problem, right? You're assuming that America always looked like it did, but it did not. Again, let's look at this. This is not America right here, as you know it. This is divided among 3 nations. So you have to talk to France about reparations too. And you have to talk to the Spanish about reparations too. You're under the assumption that the America that you know has always been this America, and it has not. It was 3 different distinct nations colonizing the entire continent, and they had different ruling styles, right? So when you look at Louisiana, or what's some of Texas, New Orleans, St. Louis, North Dakota, South Dakota, Ohio, Michigan, that was all French territory. When you go west to Arizona, to have half of Texas, New Mexico, going all the way down to Mexico, and California, that is Spanish territory. And Florida is also Spanish territory, and Cuba is also Spanish territory. So when you are making your reparations arguments, just a word of advice, you have to include 3 nations. Because how is America going to pay you for something when the United States wasn't even established yet? Right? If you were a slave in Arkansas, you can't ask the American government for reparations when 9 times out of 10 you were under French rule. If you are a slave in Texas, how are you going to ask America for reparations when you were under Spanish rule? So the people that are talking to you, massaging your Negro tears, are not even talking to you about the history of America, because it's not sexy and it doesn't tell you that your melanin is popping. But this is the real thing. You have to start with the 3 nations. And for those that are looking for their indigenous history, you must look inside of French and Spanish books to find out, because much of that purple and that orange is what we call Indian territory. So it's only so far you're going to be able to go with the Library of Congress. If you are looking for your indigenous history, you must learn Spanish and French, because a lot of their missionaries or a lot of their explorers wrote journals. The problem is it's in French and it's in Spanish, right? So you're not going to be able to find out your true indigenous history looking through an English lens, because it wasn't the English that had contact with your people. It was the French and the Spanish. Bars. I do this. All right. So let's look at some of the differences between the English colonies, French colonies, and Spanish colonies, because these differences are Negro differences. Some of us act like English. Some of us act like French, the French, and some of us act like the Spanish. Okay? So English colonies. So on the left, you'll see settlements, population sources, government, religion, population growth, relations with Native Americans. Okay. So settlements and geography. English. Most colonies established by royal charter. Earliest settlements were in Virginia and Massachusetts, but soon spread all along the Atlantic coast from Maine to Georgia and into the continent's interior as far as Mississippi River. French. French colonies were trading posts in Newfoundland. Others followed in wake of exploration of St. Lawrence Valley, parts of Canada, and the Mississippi River. Settlements include Quebec, Montreal, Louisiana, settled in late 1600s. Spanish colonies. Crown-sponsored conquest gained riches for Spain and expanded its empire. Most of the southern and southwestern regions claimed, as well as sections of the California coast. Settlements include St. Augustine, Florida, Santa Fe, Mexico, and numerous suits in Texas and California. This is super important because the Spanish were trying to expand their empire. The English settlers, they were trying to remove themselves from British, right? That's what the Revolutionary War was fought over, because they wanted to establish their own nation. They wanted to get from under the king, whereas the crown was funding expeditions so the empire can grow. The 13 colonies is its own thing. It's trying to establish its own government. See something right here. Grab this real quick. 1 second. I'm grabbing something. Federalist Papers. Let me show y'all something. People be coming on my page. Wah, wah, wah. Let me show you something. These are called the Federalist Papers. Okay. This is notes back and forth between Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson, men of that era. They were trying to establish a new government that was different from the old government where they came from England, right? Things like the right to bear arms, those are not global rights, inalienable rights. You have an opinion. Though you understand that is not a global thing for you to have, that is a very revolutionary thing for you to have. Being able to challenge and flip your government over if they don't represent the rights of the people. That's all here. You also have this beautiful book that I have is about the United States Constitution and how the people developed the government. This is all based on the 13 colonies. Okay. Then when they established it, they went to war with the French and the Spanish for the rest of the U.S. territory. That's how that happened. Okay. Kenneth's a cool. All right. Population sources. Colonists were recruited from among middle-class farmers, artisans, and tradesmen, indentured servants, specialists in certain areas, sawmill workers, convicted criminals, and were also brought over immigrants from other countries. Now, that's the English. Then you have the French, initially fur traders, merchants, and missionaries. In 1665, 1,100 French soldiers arrived and were given land. Neither Protestant nor peasant farmers were allowed to immigrate. So that's the French. Then on the right side, you have the Spanish. Conquistador soldiers and missionaries were the primary colonizers. Farmers and traders came later. Government. This is English. From the England and a frugal parliament allowed colonists to set up local governments and representative assemblies and to tax themselves as long as they did not take up arms against the crown. That's why the Revolutionary War was fought. Taxation without representation. That's what they fought it for, because the King of England was taxing settlers in the New World. French in the middle. Colonies were fully subject to the French king. There were no political rights or representative government, and public meetings could be held without permission. To the right, colonies were governed by crown-appointed viceroys and governors. Settlers had to obey the king's laws and could make none of their own. That was Spanish. Okay, religion. This is how you are Christian and Catholic, right? Even though that you lived, many of you in the regions, the English, the Spanish, and the French, all of them still had a Catholic origin. It just was different, okay? So if you lived in an English territory, this was for you. Largely non-Catholics, although some tolerance was practiced in most colonies. The Puritans in Massachusetts established an autocratic and restrictive religious system. Pennsylvania mandated complete tolerance. Okay, French. Even though Protestants had played a role in the founding of New France from around 1659 on, they were excluded from this colony. Colonial life was largely controlled by the French Catholic clergy. Spanish. settlers were restricted to Catholics, were persecuted and driven out. This is why many of your grandparents are Catholic, right? So you'll see later that many of the black ballers, the churches that they set up were Catholic churches. Why? Because they were dominated by French, Spanish, and the English. They all had a Catholic origin. So the Christianity that many of you go by, this was not the original Christianity of the blacks of 200 and 300 years ago. They were Catholic. Many of your grandparents are Catholic. That's for a reason, right? Economy. Diverse economic activities included farming, fishing, and trading. Exports included tobacco, rice, timber, and fish. Tobacco was the main source of revenue in the Virginia and North Carolina colonies. That's the English. Middle, French. Although the French government encouraged farming efforts, the fur trade proved to be more lucrative. Plantations established in the Mississippi Valley largely failed. Remember, Mississippi is French controlled. To the right, Spanish, largely a trading economy. Some farming in the West. Commerce was controlled by the Spanish Board of Trade, with regulations enforced by the Spanish military. Okay. Population growth. Now, mind you, this is divided between the English, French, and Spanish. Rapid growth due to liberal immigration policies. By 1627, Virginia had approximately 1,000 settlers. By 1754, total population in the English colonies had grown to 1.5 million. This included large proportions of German and French. Why? Because the English area, which is the 13 colonies, they embraced immigration. This is why New York and Boston and Philly have different kind of people there, whereas below the Bible Belt, it's not that many different ethnicities. But when you go to New York, a person as dark as me starts speaking Spanish. Why? Because New York has always embraced immigration. All right. The other nations in America didn't. So we'll read about it right here. Slow growth. By 1672, no more than 5,000 colonists had settled throughout New France. In Canada, the fresh population totaled just under 40,000. By 1734, in Louisiana, by 1763, there were approximately 10,000 settlers, including 5,000 slaves and Acadians. The Spanish, slow growth due to greater emphasis on military conquest, poor relations with Native Americans, and numerous early failures to establish permanent settlements. Largest Spanish populations were Florida, Texas, California, and Mexico. Where do you guys think Spanish comes from? It comes from Spain. So when you see somebody named Jorge or Hector or Juan or Enrique, that's Spanish. Okay? When you go to Central America, the reason why they speak Spanish is because the conquistadors there. When y'all talk white supremacy, you're only talking about the English. You're not even including the French or the Spanish. You're talking about one group of people when America was chopped up by other nations. So this is why when you go to Mexico and Ecuador and Panama, they speak Spanish. A lot of you didn't even know Spain was a country. Spanish belongs to Spain. Okay? Relations with Native Americans. This is important. Okay? Originally friendly, earlier colonists relied on natives for trade and for help with survival. Eventually, greed for land led to major conflicts with Indian. French, despite conversion efforts of missionaries, French respect for Native Americans allowed many to forge alliances, especially in their wages against the British. The Cherokee Nation, where they are located, that was once French territory. Oklahoma was once French territory. Nebraska was once French territory. As you see here, the French had a different relationship with the natives. So, for those looking for their history and who your peoples are in America, if the French had a better relationship with the natives, they might have not wiped you out of history in the literature. So it's important that you see French genealogy and things like that. Learn French ASAP if your peoples are from that region, because that was all French territory. You're not going to be able to find out your ancient origin looking through the eyes of the English, because the English had not done Western expansion yet. You had to go through the Louisiana Purchase, and wars were fought for territory. So Spanish-American War, French-American War, that is a battle over territory. But some of those regions still kept their culture. This is why places like New Orleans is or Louisiana is different than everybody, right? Texas, Arizona, we have cities called like Mesa. That's all Spanish. Florida, that's all Spanish. St. Augustine, right? That's all Spanish. All right. So Spanish missionaries saw Native Americans as heathens to be converted to Christianity. Soldiers viewed them as fit only for killing and subjugation. So the reason why I read that is because it's important when we're talking about America that we talk about it from this perspective right here. America was not what we think it is, right? It was not what we think it is. We view America now as if it always looked like that. But the reason why I wanted to show this is to show you why we are different. We are not the same. We have differences, big differences. And the differences are based on the territories that we grew up in. New Yorkers are different than people from, say, Mississippi. New York, that was English. Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, that's French. California, that's Spanish, right? Those nations are different. And since they had better weapons and we were under them, some of us under Spanish rule, some of us under English rule, and some of us under French rule, we are different based on the nations. Copy? All right. But our topic today is blacks been balling. Now I want to talk about the ingredients in your cake, because many of us always talk about the wealth gap in America, but we don't talk about the ingredients in the cake that we bake. We look at outside forces and say, that's the reason why collectively we don't have wealth, or we're being discriminated against. We're looking at the outcome, but we're not looking at the ingredients. And I want to talk to that for a second about the ingredients in your cake, okay? Because that's important. So you have the American and the anti-American. I'm going to be honest and say, if you ask the average black person, are they American? They're going to say no. Okay, that explains the wealth gap. If I ask the average black man in America, are you American? He's going to say no. And he's going to talk about the country in disdain. Fine. If I ask the average black woman, are you American? She's going to say no. But they also complain about the wealth gap. And therein lies the problem. The wealth gap is based on the ingredients in your cake. I will break it down for you. One side, the American, the other side, the anti-American. The American embraces capitalism. The anti-American doesn't embrace capitalism. The American embrace patriotism. The anti-American doesn't embrace patriotism, rejects it. The anti-American rejects the Constitution. The American embraces the Constitution. The American embraces faith, embraces prosperity and property ownership. The anti-American rejects all of that. The American generational wealth is not money. It's the science on how to get it. The generational wealth for the anti-American is a slavery story. That's the reason for the wealth gap. How can you be disgruntled that there's a divide in wealth when the behavior culturally is anti-money? How can you be wealthy when you don't accept the blueprint on how to get it in this country? Because foreigners that come here, they accept and embrace capitalism. They begin to embrace patriotism. They embrace the Constitution, and then they begin to move way faster than the people that are from here, because the people that are from here, whether they know it or not, are anti-American. How are you disgruntled that people with different cultural values than you are doing better in the country? Think about that for a second. The people that embrace America have a different quality of life than those that don't. Now, I'm always tell you, don't throw away the land, throw away the politics. Let's go around again, because we baking that cake, right? We baking that cake. Those that embrace America embrace capitalism. The average Black America embraces communism or socialism, right? One of the most important political parties in the United States was the Black Panthers. They embraced communism. They read from Chairman Mao's Little Red Book. That was his Communist Manifesto, right? Patriotism. I've never heard a billionaire from America say he doesn't love America, or she doesn't love America, right? But the Black American does not love America, which is fine. But you also will not get the fruits either. So you are a person without a country. But I've never heard a Cuban come to the United States and not love Cuba. They might not like Castro. They might not like Batista, but they love Cuba. I've never seen a Russian come to America and hate their country. They might not like Putin. They might not like Stalin, but they love Russia. I've never seen a person from China come to America and hate China. They might not like Chairman Mao or the policies, but they love their country. The Negro in America does not love his country. He is a very treasonous soul. And that's why the economic divide looks the way it does, because for you to get rich in America, you have to embrace Americanism, even the stuff that you don't like. It's par for the course. The American embraces capitalism. The anti-American, the modern Negro, dismisses capitalism, says that there should be a redistribution of wealth. What they're saying is, you that have worked very hard all your life, you that have studied all your life, you that have sacrifices, you that have delayed gratification, it is your job to take care of those that do absolutely nothing. They want a piece of your wealth. They feel entitled to your hard work. It is your job to take care of the community. Your job. They're not talking about babies. No. They're talking about able-bodied men. America is the land. How does America not like you? Are you talking about politicians? That's why I say separate the land from the politics. And you don't have to be liked to make it. That is emotional, right? No one is expecting love from their country, right? The Chinaman is not expecting to be loved by the government of China. Governments don't love. That's not what they do. right? The Negro has a desire to be loved and cared for and cherished. And if he's not loved, cared for, and cherished, he looks at as rejection. How come the system doesn't love me? How come people aren't saying nice things about my hair? There. Oh, this is what the black man wants. To be like this. I love your dreads, black man. I love you, black man. You want this. This is what you want. You'll take this over money. Right? You don't even want the money. You want to be recognized by whites with no power. You want white people with no power to tell you that you're important. You don't even care about the people with the money. You want the trailer park people to look at your so-called blackness and appreciate it. This is you. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. America's gonna buy you a mockingbird. Put your pacifier in your mouth. Coochie, coochie, coo. And then when they go, woogity, woogity, nigger, you're like, oh my God. Right? Yeah. You want to like this. But then they go woogity, woogity to you. And you're like, oh my God. What do you mean America doesn't like us? You have to like you. It's indifferent. It's not here for you to like it or you to like. You know what I like? I like the Grand Canyon. That's America. I like Sedona. That's America. I like the Mississippi River. That's America. I like B.B. King. That's America. You know what I'm saying? That's America. Tina Turner, Elvis Presley. That's America. America is not the government. All right. So when I embrace America, I throw away the politics. If I can use it, I'll use it. If I can't, I can't. If it's against me at this particular time, then I have to adjust and I have to adapt, right? But I embrace capitalism. I am also embrace patriotism, right? Because this is where I'm at, right? This is where I'm at, right? The reason why blacks now don't know that black people been balling is because of anti-American sentiment. We're taught to be anti everything, anti the church, even though we've seen blacks use it and it worked for them, right? We're even anti-family, but we're not anti the collective though, right? So we're okay with bonding and uniting with perfect strangers, but that same effort within our own family, we're not willing to push that effort into heal. We rather go out into the collective and sleep on other people's couch, right? That's how we're taught to be anti. So you have the American and the anti-American. And the wealth gap is because blacks as a whole have anti-American behavior. And all you have to do is sit back and listen. So how do people that hate Americans and non-Americans want the wealth gap to dissolve? Money is only for the Americans. You don't get to be both. You don't get to get money here and not be an American, right? You don't get to not be patriotic. You don't get to not believe in the Constitution and then you want money at the same time. That's not how this works. This shit is not government cheese, man. This is not welfare food stamps. Right? Jewish is not a race. Right? It's not a race. Right? It's supposedly a tribe. There's 12 of them. Dan, Naphtali, right? Judah, right? But it's not necessarily a race, right? It's only one race right now that's going on, y'all. And that's the space race. who can secure real estate in space. Look, just like this. This is what's going on. This is why it's important that we start having more forward conversations, right? Let me show you this. The same way America was carved up like this, space is being carved up exactly like this. China has this, Russia has this, India has that, Israel has this, Britain has that, America has this, Canada has that. That is the only race that's popping right now, and that is the space race. So a lot of y'all laughed when Trump made Space Force. That's a real thing, right? They're competing for real estate so they can spy on each other, right? When you see Jeff Bezos in his take people to the edge of space, why do you think they're going there? Only the ballers get to do it. What do they know that we don't know? You think that's just for fun? No. They're asking you, would you like to bid on that spot right there? Right? A good book is called Elysium. Right? So it's not about white people or black people right now. Do you know why? Because our world is digital, and your number one threat is not a human being, it's automation. Right? Automation broke the back on Appalachian workers. Who do you think was stormed the Capitol? Right? Those were men out of work. Automation put them out of work. That's how this goes. It's only one race, the space race. And your number one threat right now is digital. Robots teaching themselves how to do things to replace the human worker. And shareholders are supporting that because guess what? The robot doesn't need a break. The robot doesn't need insurance. So shareholders are loving for these corporations to invest in automation. It's more efficient work. Okay. So do y'all understand American behavior and anti-American behavior and understand about the ingredients in your cake? The ingredients in your cake are the reason the wealth gap is the way it is. Because I'm watching Asians come to America and practice American behavior. And how come they're getting it? Right? So for some reason, white supremacy is not working on them and it's allowing them to ball, right? And many of them are not making investments in America to make investments back at their homeland. So why would so-called white supremacy allow something like that? So basically what you're saying is white supremacy is only focused on the Negro. Meanwhile, per capita, people of Asian descent are doing the best. So white supremacy can't be working like that because it's people getting per capita richer than white people. So make that make sense, right? We need to talk about desire to be product. We have a celebrity-driven culture, right? We emulate them. We talk about them. We fantasize about them. We were just talking about Rihanna and her baby. Why do we care, right? But the thing that's interesting that we care about is we care about the products. We don't know who the owners are, right? If I asked you to name billionaires that had nothing to do with entertainment, many people wouldn't know, right? Who are the owners? There's an issue in the NFL going on with a gentleman that used to work for the Miami Dolphins, right? We keep talking about the NFL owners. Who are they though? Where did they get their money from? And how do y'all get to tell owners what to do? You can file your grievances, but you don't get to tell the owner what to do. You are the product. A coach, a GM. They don't have to hire you. Right? Let's find out some of the owners. Because I'll be damned if you get to tell me what to do with my product. Right? We talk a lot about the players. Who's the owners, though? Y'all got some nerve. The Negro has took it too far. The thing is, big bank take little bank. How does the people with little bank get to tell big bank what to do? See, there's some stuff that you're not going to be able to march and petition on. You're not going to be able to march and petition to tell business owners what to do regarding their product. You have a power, and your power is you can walk away. People are telling me this man in the NFL, this coach, he's being oppressed. I'm like, how? He can walk away. What is up with the Negro trying to force themselves on people? If someone doesn't see your value, go somewhere else. But y'all get to play on white guilt. I'm different. You will never, ever, ever tell me what to do with my product. See, y'all can guilt whites into that, though. I'm not going. If this is my stuff, I say who I want to hire. And I don't give a damn if they're green. I'm not going to acquiesce to none of your terroristic demands. You're the low man. So let's find out some of the owners of the NFL. Because we keep talking about what the product is crying about. But we don't know none of the owners, though. Bill Bidwill, owner since 1972. Forbes estimates the Cardinals are worth $1 billion, making them the 25th most valuable NFL team. Bidwill moved the team from St. Louis after his demands a new. Look, he wanted a new stadium. They didn't meet the demands. Did he cry? No. He picked up his team and moved them. Do you see the difference? The Negro will kick and scream. Let me in. Let me in. Let me in. You know why? Let's go back to this. Coochie, coochie, coo. I see your black skin. The other man want a stadium? No, I can't get it. I'm moving my team. Guess what happens when he moves his team? No paying property taxes, no jobs. You depresses the economy. See how it's done? But the Negro, yes, coochie, coochie, coo. Yes, I love your black skin. Yes, you're such a precious black man. You're such a precious black man. We're going to hire you when you get older. Coochie, coochie, coo. Oh, yeah. How he got rich. Bidwill inherited the Cardinals from his father, Charles. Charles was a wealthy Chicago lawyer. And according to the book From Sandlot to Super Bowl, the National Football, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Arthur Blank, Chicago, owns the Atlanta Falcons. Now y'all know the names. Owner since 1992. The Falcons are estimated to be worth $1.125 billion, placing them the 21st in NFL franchise financial rankings. Blank reportedly brought the team for $545 million. Blank has expressed interest in bringing an MLS team to Atlanta. How he got rich. In 1978, Archer Blank co-founded Home Depot. Did y'all know that? Story has it that during Home Depot's early days, Blanks and his business partner would stand in a parking lot handing out dollar bills to entice customers to browse the store. Blank is now worth an estimated $2.5 billion, meaning he could lure the entire population of China into Home Depot if he wanted to. Wait a minute. Y'all want to tell people spending $500 million what to do? Steve Bisciotti, Ravens owner since 2004. Bisciotti was a minority owner of the Ravens from 2000 until he bought the whole dang team through a $325 million deal with Art Modell in 2004. The Ravens are now worth $1.5 billion. Bisciotti is the second youngest sole owner of an NFL franchise behind Darren Snyder. Bisciotti is the first youngest if you don't count owners who are despised by their fans. How he got rich. Bisciotti founded Aerotech in a basement office with his cousin. This later turned into a parent company, the Allegis Group, which owns both Aerotech and Tech Systems. Despite what they sound like, these companies are not front for a Bond's villain plot for world domination, but rather staffing firms for engineering and technology companies. But y'all want to tell these people what to do? You're not hiring me. We need more black head coaches. Y'all ain't putting no money up. And then don't tell me, well, we play the game. You're replaceable. You're the product. Anybody will replace you. That's not how this goes. The product does not get to make demands. If you don't like working here, you can go. That's your power, that you can go. If all of you decide not to go, then you will force the owner's hands. Right? But you're the product. You're the entertainment. The owners be up in the skybox. Nobody knows their names. But you know Odell Beckham. You know Patrick Mahomes. That's the product. Okay? The dude that's suing the NFL now, he's for discrimination being a coach. That's a product. They're well-paid products, but no one's bullying you because you don't have to be here. Right? And y'all have some social justice handkerchief head, crocodile tears, stepping fidget, haven't seen Gone with the Wind, really don't know about Sidney Poitier, some type of nerve to be telling all this big money what they should be doing. If that was me and I was being looked over again, I would be handling it behind the scenes. All right, mental note. I'm not going to show my hand. That's too soon. Showing your hand too soon. Then what they'll do is, like a good businessman, so you don't lose the customers, throw the people a bone, right? But then go back to business as usual. You have to conceal your intentions in the game, right? Now this is making headline news, of course, because it deals with a black man and something racial. Coochie coo, black man, you're being picked on again. Bills owner, Terry Bagella. Since 2014, the Bills are now worth $935 million, according to the Forbes. Ralph Wilson founded the team in then AFL in 1959. The league eventually merged with the NFL in 1970, where the Bills went on to define small market success in the early 90s, before doing the exact opposite of the following for the next 2 decades. How he got rich. After Wilson passing in 2014, Pagella bought the Bills for a reported sum of $1.4 billion. His fortune comes from the sale of his natural gas, drilling, and fracking company. Y'all got some nerve telling people who they should hire and what they should do with their money. Y'all get real serious about games too. The NFL is a game. I don't care about black coaches in a game. I don't have to watch that. You know where I do care black where I care black people to be? Marine biologists, paleontologists, archaeologists, anthropologists. I don't care about games. It's the sciences that matter. Care about games? That's what y'all get up for. Look, he's oppressed playing a game. Man, no, man. That's what y'all care about. Games and play. Games and running and jumping. Astrophysicism. Neurobiologists. I need some of these black kids to be studying evolutionary biology. If you really want to talk about oppression, that's the spaces where I don't see any young black kids or y'all really caring about. Look, man, who digs up them bones matters. Because the people that's digging up them bones, they got the ability to put their culture and their spin on it. Do you notice the Negro is never in the building when them bones are coming out of the ground? They get to say something is 600-700 million years old, right? They get to keep saying the out of Africa theory as if no human beings was in America. None at all. None. This was an entire continent for millions and millions of years with not one person walking on it. Well, when you dig the bones out of the ground, you get to control the narrative. That's where I would like to see brown people. I don't care about who is coaching a football team. I really don't. But that's what y'all love. Oh, oppression. It's a job that he doesn't have to be there. You don't gotta go. Take your money. Entrepreneurship is an option. I'm the if I can't play, I'm taking my ball with me type. I'm taking my ball. Not gonna just handle me a kind of way. Oh, I can't get picked for the team. I'm taking my ball with me. David Tepper, owner since 2018. Tepper brought the Panthers for $2.275 billion, setting a record for the highest price ever paid for an NFL team. Tepper purchased the franchise amid sexual harassment allegations against previous owner Jerry Richardson. In order for the sale to go through, Tepper had to sell his 5% stake in the Pittsburgh Steelers, which he had purchased in 2009. The shares were estimated to be worth $122 million. How he got rich. Tepper's high-rich hedge fund moves, which bet against the collapsed companies like Enron and WorldCom, made him a billionaire by 2003. His net worth is an estimated $11 billion. He reportedly once kept a set of brass testicles on his office desk. You're not going to bully these people. I'm letting you know that right now. They don't care about social justice, right? Because they get money other places. So when y'all stop watching the NFL, this is just one way they get money. And it's such an asset. If it goes to the price, y'all playing with their money too crazy, they'll just sell the team. But you're not going to bully a dude that got brass testicles on his office desk. That means this person plays the game at a very high level. And they don't care about you crying racism, and they don't care about you crying injustice. You're not going to be able to bully these people at all. We want in. That's not how you're going to get in. You better tell one of your sons to marry one of their daughters. You better play the game that way. But if they don't let you in straight up, you got to figure out another way. How about tell one of your whole friends to hook up with them and then tape it. And then now you can blackmail it. I don't know. Get creative. But always crying to the media, That's not going to work, man. These people got too much bank and they took too much risk to get their capital. Virginia Hallis McCaskey, Chicago Bears owner. This is a woman. 1983. Virginia McCaskey owns 80% of the Bears, who are valued at $1.7 billion. Nearly $1 billion of that money is spent reminding people that the 85 Bears won the Super Bowl. Football money. It's hard to find any Hallis family holdings or enterprises that don't have to do with T formation, linebackers, or angry Moscato head cookies. The family's fortune grew with the NFL, which is to say it grew a lot. How she got rich. She inherited a team from her father, George Hallis, who took a starch company rec league squad and essentially turned it into the NFL. He was a founder, player, coordinator, coach, and owner of the Bears, hence Mr. Everything. And these people is inheriting this stuff from their parents? Man, why is there no black owners? So, yo, these people are inheriting stuff from their parents. And you just want to be let in because why? Like, why should they let you in to this money-making machine? What's in it for them if they let you in? I'm telling you what to do. Have one of your children groom them up and mate with one of their grandchildren. There, your family's in now. Play the game. That's how they would do it to you. Cincinnati Bengals, and they going to the Super Bowl, so their valuation is about to go through the roof. Owner since 1991. Mike Brown took over the Bengals after his father's death in 1991. The team is worth an estimated $990 million. Total control. Mike Brown works as the general manager of the Bengals and is only one of two owners in the NFL to do so. The Cowboys' Jerry Jones is the other, which doesn't help Brown in deflecting any criticism that he's a control freak. How he got rich. Mike Brown's father, Paul Brown, was the namesake of the first coach of the Ohio's other team, the Browns. He went on to co-found and own the Bengals after leaving the team to his son. Like Hallis' family, the Browns' money come from the NFL. Should football one day cease to exist, the Browns would be penniless and confused, wandering through the Midwest, wondering where their publicly funded stadiums and fortune went. Luckily for them, football has continued to exist and looks relatively stable. I'll read this last one, man, and then I'll put the link in the chat for people to want to know, because we got to get on the blacksbeenballin. Jimmy Haslam, owner since 2012. In 2012, Haslam brought the Cleveland Browns from Randy Lerner for a reported $1 billion. Haslam had to sell a minority interest in the Pittsburgh Steelers that he held since 2008 in order to buy the Browns. NFL rules state that owners are not allowed to have ownership stakes in multiple teams. In fact, that's pretty much the only rule the NFL has. How he got rich. Jimmy Haslam is the CEO of the Pilot Flying J Truck Stock Company. Did y'all know that? Have y'all ever been driving and you seen Flying J, the truck stop company? He's the CEO of that. A nation chain funded by his father. Pilot Flying J is the largest such company in the country and sells more over-the-road diesel fuel than anyone else. Haslam and Pilot Flying J are currently under federal investigation for scheming customers and shortchanging them in fuel rebates. Look, if you're not getting sued, you ain't rich. That's the if you're not being, you'll know you'll have money by how much you're being sued. But did y'all know that Flying J, that trucking stop, the Haslams own that? This guy right here. I'm gonna put the link in the chat so you on your own, you can go ahead and do your own due diligence on who owns these teams, right? And there's a reason why they're not letting other people get ownership, and there's a reason why they have the coaching hires that they do, because they can. You're not going to tell big money what to do when you're little bank. That's not how the game goes. And y'all are under the impression that social justice gets to tell billionaires what to do. The only time billionaires are going to do something is if it's good for business. If it's not good for business, they don't have to do it, because they can do things like this. Leave your state. If they leave your state, they take the money with them. They can close a factory. You don't want to piss a billionaire off. You know why? Because it's a lot of people that work for them, including you. So we are talking about desire to be product. The desire to be product just doesn't go in the sports area. The desire to product goes in the music area too. Doja Cat, Young Thug, Lil Wayne, all these people, while they might entertain you and have a car that you don't have and get to sleep with women that you don't sleep with, they are product. Who are the owners, though? Uh-oh. Let's find out some owners. If you're having a good time, press 1 in the chat, because we are definitely going to get into the blacksbeenballin. The reason why we are slow grinding it is because the blacks need to shape up their brain. And that's what I'm here for. So if you're ready for who are the real owners, press 1 in the chat. We're just going to read a couple. The 5 most powerful people in the music industry don't work in the music industry. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. See, we so focused on being the product, the dancer, the rapper, right? That we don't know nothing about the owners. All of our conversation is product based, right? Let's go into it. In just under 2 weeks, the people making the biggest decisions in modern music will inevitably feel their blood pressure rise. At a Los Angeles location a few days before Grammy night, Billboard will reveal its annual Power 100, a countdown of the most influential individuals in the music industry. The list, as ever, will cause a ripple of music biz. I've never said this word. Perturbation. Let me write that down. Never said that. About to use it. Perturbation. I'm using that. Is that an extension of perturbed? Okay, got it. Not least for its inevitable domination by white men of a certain age. The fallout from the Power 100 won't end there either. Status-hungry execs will be left gnashing their teeth at being placed 16 rather than 11, while some cooler cats will be irked just to be associates with the list and its appendix measuring analogs. Okay, let me get to the nooks and crannies. Okay. Len Blavinik. Len Blavinik. Okay. Who is Len Blavinik? Warner Music Group owns the world's 3rd biggest record music company, Warner Music, and its 3rd biggest publisher, Warner Chappell. Stars signed to WMG include Ed Sheeran, Bruno Mars, Cardi B, and 21 Savage. Warner Brothers music boss Max Lasada and its currently appointed new leadership team at Warner Chappell, Guy Moot, and Shireen Marshall all report to the CEO of the wider Warner Music Group, Steve Cooper. As for Cooper, he reports to the USA's 27th richest individual, Len Blavinik, founder of Access Industries. Access started out focused on Russian investments, amassing a fortune through betting on real estate, natural resources, and media telecompanies. In 2011, Blavinik splashed $3.3 billion to buy Warner Music Group, which he followed up with the purchase of Parlophone in 2013 for $487 billion. Well, really 760 million. Both of these buys happened amid a distressed post-Napster music business and raised eyebrows. Blavinik, though, has triumphed. Warner Music Group just enjoyed yet another record financial year, turning over $4 billion for the first time. WMG has become recently very acquisitive, buying the likes of Dutch-based dance label Spinning Records for 100 million plus, influential online media hub Uprocks, and Germany-based merch e-commerce powerhouse EMP for just over 180 million. Listen to these numbers. Warner might be losing these deals, but Blavinik is inking the checks. I'm sorry. Warner might be making these deals, but Blavinik is inking the checks. Outside Warner, access additional power in music is significant. The company co-owns talent management outfit First Access Entertainment, run by British execs Sarah Stonnett, and home to the likes of Rita Ora and Babe Rexa. Access is also a controlling shareholder in streaming service Deezer, while its venture arm ATV has acquired interest in the likes of Alibaba, Facebook, Spotify, Amazon, Snap, Tencent, Music Entertainment, and Beats by Dre. So the person who's over Warner Music Group is not even in music. But we're focused on the product. A lot of y'all, you talk and talk and talk, and they. You don't know how deep this rabbit hole goes. Who is the they that you're talking about? The people that run the music business are not even in it. They let the other people run around, but they're not even in it. They just told you who the head of Warner Music is. He's not even in that. It's just a good investment to make. So who's the they? I highly doubt that man is telling these artists what kind of music to make. He don't care. You know what he cares about? Profits. So if they rapped about Bibles and it made 20 billion, he don't care. If they rapped about sex and it made 20 million, he don't care. Just turn the profits. What about Vincent Ballin? Ballor, that looks hyphenated. Shareholder Vivendi. Universal Music Group CEO and Chairman Sir Lucian Grange. This is if anybody want to know about Tekashi 6ix9ine, this is who Tekashi 6ix9ine was under, right? Universal Music Group CEO and Chairman Sir Lucius Grange has a good shot at topping any music industry power list in 2019. UMG signed artists claim no less than 8 of the top 10 most streamed albums in the US last year, thanks to the likes of Drake, Post Malone, Migos, Juice WRLD, Maroon 5. Grange is also leading UMG to all-time record revenues with his company. Let me see if I can break this down. With his company, Grange is also leading UMG to all-time revenues with his company, owner of labels such as Republic, Capitol, and Interscope, as well as Universal Music Publishing Group, expecting to hit around $7 billion in annual profits for 2018. As a result, UMG has become the jewel in the crown at its parent, Paris-based Vivendi, which is set to top up to 50% of UMG by the end of the year, with UMG, which is Universal Music Group, currently being valued at $33 billion, some 38 times bigger than its EBITDA profit in 2017. It's no shock why Grange has been publicly heralded as amazing by Vivendi's leadership team. Despite the sterling commercial performance, there is one individual at Vivendi with whom Grange has always known to stay on the right side. Vincent Ballin is the ex-chairman of Vivendi, but in reality, the X is ornamental. When Vincent stood down as chairman after 4 years in 2017, he passed the Vivendi hot seat on to his son Yannick, or at least he recommended to Vivendi's super advisory board that they appoint Yannick in the role. Vincent Bolloré investment vehicle, the Bolloré Group, is the single biggest shareholder in Vivendi, owning more than 20% of ordinary shares and close to a third of the firm's voting rights. Needless to say, the Frenchman will be watching, not to mention prodding the imminent universal sale process intently. What does that mean? That Universal Music Group is not owned by people in music. So here's another situation that we are focused on product, but we don't know who the owner is. We keep saying they are doing, they this and they that. I'm giving you the names of the people that are really owning shit, from the NFL to music business. This is the last one. Mahateng Tencent, right? So now you have names, and now you won't be saying they. The people that run the music business are not even in the music business. It's important to find a place on the list for the boss of a streaming music giant. It could have gone to Daniel Ek or Martin Lawrenson, the co-founders of Spotify, who still jointly retain majority voting rights in the world's biggest music subscription platform. It could have gone for obvious. It could have also gone for obvious reasons to Jeff Bezos at Amazon or Tim Cook at Apple. None of these individuals, however, are in a better position to control the global music streaming landscape over the next decade than Tencent. Did y'all know that? Tencent is one of the most significant shareholders in Spotify, according to SEC filing from April 3rd last year. Tencent, via its majority stake in Tencent Music Entertainment, as well as its ownership of ImageFrame, possessed 9.1% of Spotify equity. Tencent stakeholding was arranged as part of a pact with Spotify, when the latter seemingly agreeing not to launch in the burgeoning Chinese music market, which contributed to $992.3 million to the record industry in 2017. Elsewhere, Tencent led a $115 million investment last year in Indian music streaming service Gaana, which currently claims to have over 80 million active users. Gaana will soon become a direct rival to Spotify, with the latter likely to launch in India January 31st. And then there's Tencent's Music Entertainment, in which Tencent owns 58%. TME is the owner of China's biggest music services, including QQ Music, Kanghao Music, Kawa Music, and WeSing, which combined boasts more than 80 million in monthly users, 4 times the equivalent audience serviced by Spotify. TME floated on the New York Stock Exchange in December, raising more than $1 billion, and the likes of JP Morgan, HSBC recently upgraded their expectations for the company. Sitting at the top of Tencent's vast media empire is its CEO, Ma Haoteng, known as Pony Ma. The Shenzhen-based executive oversees a company worth more than $400 billion, in which he owns a reported 9%, with a personal net worth in excess of $40 billion. Haoteng has previously been labeled the richest person in China. Some suggest Tencent could take a stronghold on the global music business in 2019 via a strong buyout of that available 50% stake in Universal Music Group. But they'll have to get past our next 2 entrants. I'm not going to read that. I'm going to just post the link in the chat so you know that one. Right? So we just found out that the top record labels in the company are not owned by people in the music business. They're owned by people outside of the music business. Why is that important? Because we are way too focused on the product. Who is the product? The product is Doja Cat. If you sign to a record label, you are a product. And it's mind-boggling how people sign to record labels and then want to tell the record label what to do, when the record label is the one putting up the money for advertisement and placements and streaming. To get plugged into a radio market costs money. So yet again, you have small money trying to tell big money what to do. Not only are you trying to tell big money what to do, you're trying to tell CEOs what to do that don't even really care about music. They only care about turning a profit. So that link is in the chat. Do you know why you're not allowed to be oppressed right now? Do you know why you can't talk to me about oppression and racism right now? Because billionaires write books. Strategists write books. Very, very, very smart people write books. What does that mean? Because a man that has knowledge can't be a slave. What do I mean billionaires write books? I'm going to put this link in the chat too. I'm not going to stay on this too long. But this is 101 books written by billionaires. What? No excuse. A few titles: My Life and Work by Henry Ford. Today and Tomorrow by Henry Ford. Few books by Henry Ford. Principles: Life and Work by Ray Diallo. What's his net worth? $17 billion. Am I Being Too Subtle? Sam Zell. John Rockefeller, The Autobiography of an Oil Titan and Philanthropist. Okay. Lean In, Work, Women, and the Will by Sherry Sandsberg. Jimmy, an autobiography by Jim Pattison, net worth $6.9 billion. Billionaires write books. I'm going to put this link in the chat. I don't want to hear no one telling me about no goddamn oppression or none of that. When billionaires write books, all you have to do is read and study your way out the situation and execute. They're telling you what they did to rise above. What do you think? It's not competitive in the white world? What do you think? Whites are just letting other people, other white men get money? You think they're not competing with each other? You're the only group of people that don't think you should compete with each other. White people compete with each other, and that it breeds the best. Chinese people compete with each other, and it breeds the best. The black man and woman does not think y'all should compete with each other, and that's why a lot of shit is lackluster. If my business is better than yours, I'm putting you out of business. Either that or we merge and become one company. If we're not going to merge and become one company, I'm putting you out of business. That's how this thing goes globally. How do we know? Where's Blockbuster? Where's Circuit City? Right? There was a store called Woolworth when I was coming up. It's gone. Do you know why? Because another company put it out of business. See, they compete with each other openly and don't care about the results. Whereas black people have to be nice to each other. You even have to talk good about a black man in the media because you can't mess up his image, right? So we have this weird grouping, but there's no perks in it. Billionaires write books. The slave master, who y'all call Massa writes books. Some of these books are on strategy. Look, Shoe Dog, the memoir by Phil Knight. Who is Phil Knight? Phil Knight is the Nike founder. You have Nikes on your feet, but do you know the mindset of the Nike founder, though? Well, he has a book called Shoe Dog. I know, this is not entertainment. See, that's what you want. You want entertainment. You want all of your perks to come through entertainment. But when I say go study it and study your way out of it, you're like, hell no, I need legislation to get me out of here. What about the Homestead Act? You're going to what about me to death? No excuse. All right? Do you know Warren Buffett has essays? Warren Buffett is considered the greatest investor of all time, right? Then you have The Virgin Way, Everything I Know About Leadership by Richard Branson. He is a billionaire. And in his book, he put everything he knows about leadership. Look, scroll. This is 191 books by billionaires. The Science of Success by Charles Koch, worth $42 billion. No excuses. Right? Here's the link again. They're telling you how. But you know what you're going to say? But what about that brother over there? What about him? When he get income tax, you're not getting none. Blacks been balling in America for a very, 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 very long time. We are going to go through a list of black ballers. Did they have to go through racism? Yes. I know you want to hear me say that. You want me to acknowledge the system. Okay, fine. Right? I know that's important to you, that I acknowledge the system. Right? Well, I'm acknowledging it. Life is hard. Right? But these black ballers manage to work with less and get more than you. And the reason why we don't discuss the black ballers is because black trauma and dysfunction is a billion, maybe $1 trillion economy. Everybody's in on the joke of black trauma. Let's get into some of these black ballers, shall we? Let's see who's first on my black balling list, because I got a couple names. Oh, one of my favorites. Let's go to Miss Annie Malone. Right? And you know why that section that I just did about billionaires writing books? Because y'all call them massa. So if massa is telling you the secrets of success, then what will that make you? A master too. Uh-oh. But you don't want to be a master. You want to be this right here. You want to be in the arms and crying. This is you. This brown is you. And you want the government or private sectors or white people to do this to you. That's what you want. They're not hiring me in the NFL. They're being mean to us. Why are they treating us this way? They don't love us. They don't like us. That's baby minority talk. This is you. And you want these people to hold you. You want them to push their kids out the way so they can put you in their arms and go like this. Like a proud dad. And you want to fall and rest in your masculinity and your femininity in these people's arms on their dime. That's not how this works. Do it one more time so you get angry and you unfollow me and you call me names. This is you. Black people, you want to be in the white man's arms like this. Yes, you are precious. Oh, I love your black hair and your skin. Oh, yes. I promise I won't talk about your skin. I promise I won't appropriate your culture. I promise I won't do none of that. Yeah. You a precious king. That's what it sounds like. And for the men to talk like this, for the men to talk like this is very, and y'all, let me get on to black ballers. Annie Malone was a millionaire black icon whose mansions were listed in the Green Book, but her legacy is often overlooked. It's alleged that Malone's former protege stole her hair formulas and passed them off as her own. Sarah Breedlove, better known as Madam C.J. Walker. Look at Miss Annie, right? The school is named in honor of Irving Mollison, a Chicago lawyer in 1995 broke down color barriers as the first African-American to be appointed to a federal judgeship in the United States. Along with that legacy, Mollison's location at 441 South King Drive places it within a historic community that the school's About Us webpage notes was once home to Lorraine Hansberry, Betsy Coleman, the first woman of color to hold a pilot's license, publishing titan John H. Johnson, and legendary musician Louis Armstrong. An oppressive list, to be sure, but there's one name missing, a name that construction of the school, through no fault of its own, inadvertently buried: Annie Minerva Turnbull Malone. Malone's Poro College, categorized as a tourist home in Green Book editions 1947 through 62, formerly graced the land now accompanied by Mollison, an instance of one institution with ties to a key figure in African-American history, resting atop the ghost of another. That's the school. But nobody remembers Miss Annie. Malone may not be a household name today, but the line of Poro hair care products that she invented, revolutionary straighteners and oils that didn't damage the scalp, were once a staple in African-American households, sold door to door by Poro's networks of agents. Poro reported assets of $14 million in 1920, making Malone arguably the first recorded African-American female millionaire. Adjusted for inflation, her fortune would be worth $186 million in today's dollars, which has led some to call Malone the Oprah Winfrey of her day. But Estee Lauder or Mary Kay Ash would be a more apt comparison, or possibly even Sergey Brin. Poro reported assets of $14 million in 1920. That is over 100 years ago, while you keep Black Wall Street and me to death. Okay. They wasn't the only people getting money, but they are the people you choose to talk about because of the pain. That's the only reason you're talking about Black Wall Street, because of the pain. You damn sure ain't talking about it for the entrepreneurship. The reason why you're not talking about Annie Malone is because she wasn't lynched. If she was lynched by a white man, you would be talking about her. You see how your brain goes? You got to eat that. $14 million in 1920, adjusted for inflation, that would be a $186 million company. Oppression where? If you work for Poro, it was equivalent to Google or Apple, said Raynard Ellison, a Bronzeville resident with more than 2 decades of experience in the hair industry. Allison has spent the past several years researching Malone, among others, while in production on a documentary called Black Hair Empire. Look at the type of mogul this woman is. The original Paro College established in St. Louis include a manufacturing plant, theater, dormitory, chapel, laundry service, dining hall, and rooftop garden, among other amenities. Black beauticians came from across the country for instruction in the black hair care and skincare training that would provide them with the foundation to establish their own beauty care business. Courses included coaching on how to walk, talk, and dress for work. Among the program's graduates, Chuck Berry, a guy better known for the way he wielded a guitar than barber shears. Did you know that? It was a campus, Allison said of the college. This place was at its time state of the art. It was incomparable. Malone was way ahead of her time, but y'all don't talk about her, right? She's a black woman, that's why. But had this been a black man and he was lynched, y'all would keep him on the edge of your tongue. I'm going to stop right there because I have more black ballers. But Annie Malone, right? And just for we're clear, her college that she created included a manufacturing plant, a theater, a dormitory, a chapel, a laundry service, a dining hall, and a rooftop garden, among other amenities. And how much did her company make? Assets of $14 million in 1920, making Malone arguably recorded the first African-American female millionaire. Adjusting for inflation, her fortune will be worth $186 million. And let me tell you one ways that she actually lost a lot of her money. Her black husband, the black man, divorced her and took a lot of her shit. The Kangs. He couldn't handle his wife's success. Don't come over here talking about the image of black men. Nothing. Y'all over here messing up the church's money. The Kangs, the fathers of civilization, the cream of the crop, the most oppressed, marginalized, targeted. Well, you should have gave Annie Malone the heads up so she could have dated better, because he definitely messed up her money. Black's been balling. Somebody in the chat tell me, say Black's been balling. Company's worth, adjusted for inflation, $186 million in 1920, over 100 years ago. Somebody in the chat, please tell me that Black's been balling. The Kangs over here kanging. Y'all doing the same shit. Niggas is doing the same shit they been doing. Nigging. It is in the blood. Can't help it. Black's been balling. There's a woman right here. $14 million company. But y'all talking about black people ain't never had no money. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right. Let's keep going. Who else we got on the Black's been balling list? Let's keep going. Because we don't got to talk about white wealth. I'm going to put these people in your life you never heard of before. What about Hester Lane? Do y'all know Hester Lane? Ever heard of Hester Lane? Who is Hester Lane? Hester Lane died 1849, was an American abolitionist, philanthropist, entrepreneur. Let me read it again. American abolitionist, philanthropist, entrepreneur. Died 1849. Entrepreneur. 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 Okay, cool. Born in slavery in Maryland, she settled down in New York as a free woman. Lane was known in New York for her approach to adding color pigments to walls using whitewash, freeing slaves in Maryland through purchasing them, and the controversy surrounding her failed nomination to the American Anti-Slavery Society. She died in 1849 during the cholera epidemic. Entrepreneurship. Lane was a self-made woman. She created, managed, and ran her own business as a whitewasher or decorator, and also taught herself French. In 1830, the federal census listed her as a free black head of household. After meeting Lane in 1833, business writer Edward Strout Abbey claimed she had obtained a comfortable competency for herself. Man, she over there teaching herself French? Interesting. She was buying slaves, huh? Lane not only owned her own home, but through money earned from her business, she was able to buy the freedom of others, utilizing her ability to enter and exit the South without arousing suspicion. In the 1820s, her wealth granted her the ability to buy the freedom of at least 11 people, including entire families. Lane did not just buy the freedom of others, however. She expected those she helped to pay her back when they was able. Like, hey, that's real group economics. I'm going to put the money up from your freedom. When you get back, you give me my bread back. She remained active in some of the lives of those she liberated and helped provide access to education to the children she freed. Shout out to Hester Lane. 1800s, blacksbeenballin. She owned her home. She was buying the freedom of entire families. You never heard about this woman. Put her on your list. Hester Lane. They are lying on the blackballing. They only tell you that to mess up your self-esteem. The reason why this is important, so we could look at our own situation to see that what we're doing is unacceptable. Because blacks been balling. Somebody in the chat write blacks been balling. Call your mama real quick and say, Mom, blacks been balling, and hang up and come back. Call your husband, call your wife, and be like, baby, you know blacks been balling? Whatever you're doing in your life and it's fire, I want you to use the hashtag blacks been balling. What else are you here for? Right? I don't care if you got $15. There's a level of balling on that level. There's a higher grade of kettle chips that you could be eating, right? You don't got to eat the wrap snacks. You can eat the kettle jalapeno. That's balling on your level. If you could get the Bentley, ball with the Bentley. If you was a Honda person, ball with the Honda. But understand that blacks have been balling for a long time. They are tricking you and they are lying to you because they don't give a damn about you winning or not. I do. But like Hester Lane, when you get your wins, come tip my Cash App. Because blacks been balling. Y'all ready for some more black ballers? So we just covered 2 women, right? We just read about 2 women, Annie Malone. Now we read about Hester Lane. Are there any more black ballers? Well, sure there are. You know what? We're gonna keep talking about the women real quick, because these are black women ballers. And I want to talk about her because she had a hell of a life, but she still managed to ball. She went through hell. I'd like to introduce you to Bridget Biddy Mason, a baller that you never heard of. And her life was extremely rough. But before she got up out of here, she made sure that she balled. That's the rules. If you go through shit here, before you leave this earth, you got to ball. Right? Minor setbacks for major comebacks. So this is Miss Bridget. Bridget Biddy Mason is an American hero. Born enslaved, Mason became one of the first prominent citizens and landowners in Los Angeles in the 1850s and 60s. She also founded the first African Methodist Episcopal Church in Los Angeles, 1872. Did you know that she was one of the first people to own property in Los Angeles? I'm not over here capping when I'm telling you these blacks been balling. Let's read about Miss Biddy. Mason was born in Mississippi, 1818. She was given the name Bridget without her surname and was later nicknamed Biddy. She was owned by slaveholders in Georgia and South Carolina before returning to Mississippi. Robert Marion Smith, her last owner, was a Mississippi Mormon convert. He decided to follow the call of the church and moved his family and enslaved persons to the West. There he would help establish a Mormon community in what became Salt Lake City, Utah. At this time was still part of Mexico. Remember I told you that. Remember this picture right here? You see? I don't be capping. So the West was not even considered, quote, America. That was Spanish territory. Right? There's a reason why you're not getting reparations, because who are you asking? You got to ask the right people. Who are you asking? Right? The American government is only going to give you hard and bubble gum. Let's learn more about Biddy. Listen to this. In 1848, Mason, then 30, walked 1,700 miles behind a 300 wagon caravan. Come on, man. The caravan eventually arrived in the Holiday Cottonwood area of Salt Lake City Valley along the route. Mason was responsible for setting up and breaking camp, cooking the meals, herding cattle, and serving as a midwife. She also took care of her 3 young daughters, aged 10, 4, and a newborn. And you women are talking about you want to rest in your femininity? I want to rest. I want to be taken care of. Man, this woman had to walk 1,700 miles. Not just that, put the camp up, break it down, herd cattle, be a midwife, and take care of her own 3 daughters. And y'all up here complaining. You want to rest though. I'm so tired. You're tired because you play in your head. You're running so much in your head that you think you're actually running in real life and you're getting tired. this woman would look at you as a loser. Y'all better shut up with the I'm gonna give me a femininity coach. Mitch Bridget couldn't do all that. And she still managed to die a baller. See? What I'm seeing is people now cannot hold the jock strap or the bra of people that came before. They was made of some different stuff. Everybody now is an entitled crybaby. You know the y'all don't remember? Well, let me show you. I'm glad you asked. This is y'all in white people's arms right now. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Na, 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 na. And then you get, and then they tell you, woogity woogity nigger. And you be like, racism, oppression. Then they put you in their arms again. Coochie, coochie, coo. Huh. You just want to be rocked to sleep. Right? You just want to be rocked to sleep. Coochie, coo, nigger. But you got this black woman over here walking how many miles? 1,700? You know how far that is? You know what kind of mindset you have to have for that? And she got babies, and she got to be a midwife, and she herds cattle. You know, do you understand how hard this person worked? But y'all crying? You're going to convince me that y'all are oppressed, though. You got Jordans and a flat screen. You smoke loud. Stop at 5. What's up with Miss Bridget? Because they over here tripping. Listen to this. In 1851, Smith moved his family once again. This time, 150 wagon caravan headed to San Bernardino, California. Ignoring Brigham Young's warning that slavery was illegal in California, Smith brought Mason and other enslaved people to the new Mormon community. Along the way, Mason met Charles H. and Elizabeth Flack Rowan, a free black couple. The Rowans and others urged her to legally contest her slave status once she reached California. Fearing that he would lose his enslaved persons, Smith decided to move to Texas, a slave state. They were prevented by leaving by the Owens family. One of Robert Owens' sons was romantically with Mason's 17-year-old daughter. Owens told the LA sheriff that slaves were being illegally held. The sheriff gathered a posse and apprehended Smith's wagon train in Cajun Pass, California. After spending 5 years enslaved in California, Mason challenged Smith for her freedom. On January 21st, 1856, LA District Judge Benjamin Hayes approved Mason's petition. The ruling freed Mason and 13 members of her extended family. She took the surname Mason from the middle name of A. Mason Layman, who was the mayor of San Bernardino and a Mormon apostle. Mason moved her family to LA, where her daughter married the son of Robert and Minnie Owens. She continued working as a midwife and nurse, saving her money and using it to purchase land in what is now the heart of downtown LA. She organized the first Amy Zion Church, the oldest African-American church in the city. Mason used her wealth, estimated to be about $3 million, to become a philanthropist to the entire LA community. Somebody in the chat type Black's been balling. This same woman that had to walk 1,700 miles, that had to herd cattle, build the camp, break it down, had 3 babies of her own, had 2 masters before this one. She wind up getting $3 million from grinding. Somebody in the chat put Black's been balling. See, y'all playing around. There's really no excuse. There is really nothing that we can go through right now that would be the equivalent of what these people went through. So us at least having a liquid $1 million in the next couple years is no excuse. That gotta be like the minimum. You might not become a billionaire, but in these next couple years, every last one of us should have $1 million or close to it. That's the prayer. Because how are these people getting so goddamn rich and what they had to go through? What is it that they're doing that we're not doing? Oh, I know. They don't see themselves as victims, despite what they're going through. They don't see themselves as victims. They don't see themselves as life happening to them. They see themselves as more. How else do you explain these people getting to the money like this? Now, a woman that had to walk 1,700 miles, she had every reason to feel sorry for herself. It don't say where the daddy was of them babies. So she had these 3 babies by herself. She had to be a midwife. She had to herd the cattle. She had to do every damn thing and walk. But y'all want to talk about resting in your femininity, though. Why? Because you're cute. You ain't made of the right stuff, though. And the people that have done you a service are men with trickish natures. So they have robbed you of the value of hard work. And I'm talking to the women. When us dudes pull up on you and give you money because of your looks, what it does is it's creating a welfare mentality in you. But guess what? Life has a funny sense of humor. A new girl turns 18 every single day and 21 every single day. And it's a guy's trickish nature to go give his money to the younger woman. So if you're relying on your looks and men as an ATM, good luck with that. Why am I saying that? It's because when we peel back the layers of history, we see hard working women. What do y'all got against working hard? Oh, I should be put up. Why? Because you got a P word, pushing peace. But the thing is, the earth makes peas, though. It's 3 billion of them running around. So your pea cannot be this valuable thing that you think it is because it's too many of them to have value. You know what the value is intrinsic value, value in the mind. This woman had a work ethic that was out of this world. Somebody say, man, Black's been balling. Because how did Miss Biddy get this $3 million? I think y'all scared to say Black's been balling because it'll make everyone look at their own bank account right now. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to look at this situation and feel a sense of pride and a sense of shame because we've been out here playing around. She donated to numerous charities, fed and sheltered the poor, and visited prisoners. Mason was instrumental in founding a traveler's aid center and an elementary school for Black children. Damn, she just did everything. Bridget Biddy Mason died in LA on January 15th, 1891. She was buried in an unmarked grave in Evergreen Cemetery on March 27th, 1988. The mayor of LA and members of the church she founded held a ceremony during which her grave was marked with a tombstone. Bridget Biddy Mason is associated with the historic resources associated with African Americans in Los Angeles. Did y'all know this woman was one of the first people to own property in the city of LA? Did y'all know that? She built schools. But y'all not going to say blacks been balling. The sun is finna come in and hit me right in my face, and my melanin is finna flourish. Ain't that the stuff y'all like? Right? Melanin and Kemet and dashikis. That's what it's all about? Little symbols, right? But ain't one dashiki in none of this stuff I'm talking about. Right? Shout out to Miss Bridget, a baller. Shout out to Annie Malone. Shout out to Hester Lane. Shout out to Miss Bridget. Are there more balling blacks? I'm not going to show y'all no more. I need at least 5. Can I get 5? 5 blacks been balling. I promise you, it'll make your teeth whiter. Listen, it'll bring your cholesterol down if you say blacks been balling. If you say blacks been balling, it'll help your self-esteem. I promise you won't go to jail. I promise you won't get canceled. It's nothing wrong saying blacks been balling. Go ahead and say it. A lot of you is scared. You don't want to say them blacks been balling. I know you don't. Right? Now, if I say our blacks oppressed, you'll be like, hell yeah. Blacks been balling. Right? Good. Blacks been balling. Thank you. I got more black. Since we're on the women, like, damn, what the hell? I'm filing all these women ballers? Sheesh. Uh-oh. This one gonna land a certain type of way. Miss Hannah Elias. Look at Miss Hannah. Not only have blacks been balling, black women have been balling. Let's find out about Miss Hannah. A former sex worker who built a real estate empire in Harlem, who was one of the richest African-American women of her time. Look, 1865. Blacks been balling. Hannah Elias was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, one of 9 children of mixed-race parents. In 1884, at the age of 19, while working as a servant, she stole a ball gown for her sister's wedding. She was sent to prison. To support herself, she worked as a sex worker in a brothel in Manhattan, New York City. There, she met John R. Platt, a wealthy white man who was 45 years older than her. A few years later, Elias, who was already married, met Platt once again. This time, their connection developed into a love affair. He gave her money, paid for her divorce, and appointed her as a boarding house member. Later, she moved into a 5-story, 20-room mansion in Central Park, purchased for her by Platt, who continued to shower her with gifts, money, and jewelry, including his deceased wife's watch. Woo! She had that fire. Hold on. This woman is in a mansion. Mind you, this is the 1800s. black women been throwing it back. Somebody say black women been sucking it. Black women been had that murder, death, kill. Woo-wee. He even gave her his dead wife's watch. This woman is living in Times Square. Wait, let's read it again, just so we're clear here, right? This time their connection developed into a love affair. He gave her money, paid for her divorce, appointed her as a boarding house member. Later, she moved into a 5-story, 20-room mansion in Central Park West, purchased for her by Platt, who continued to shower her with gifts, money, jewelry, including his dead wife's watch. Whoa! Come on. This is in the 1800s. Black women been throwing it back. Squawka, 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 squawka. Black's been balling, man. In 1903, Cornelius Williams, a man who rented a room at a boarding house Elias owned and was in love with her, shot and murdered a prominent NY. This woman is dangerous. In 1903, a man who rented a room at the boarding house Elias owned and was in love with her, shot and murdered a prominent NYC figure who Williams mistakenly believed was Platt. This incident exposed Elias and Platt's relationship. Pressured by his children, Platt accused Elias of extortion of $685,385. As a result, Elias, then 39, was arrested by 4 policemen who broke into her apartment. See, that other man over there making it hot. He could not play his role. Whoever this woman is, she has some incredible juju. For real. She is a beast. Because she got this other man shooting. Oh my God. This is crazy. She was jailed, but listen, look what kind of baller she is. She was jailed, but made the bail of 30 racks. When she gave her testimony in court detailing the true nature of her relationship with Platt, she revealed that she has 15 bank accounts, lands and property worth $150,000, furniture worth $100,000, and many valuable jewels. Elias's list of fortune and assets determined that she was one of the richest Black women in the U.S. and probably the world. With no evidence of extortion, Elias was acquitted in court. However, Platt filed a suit against her in civil court, which was also ruled in her favor. Who is this woman? Who is this lady? The story of the Black prostitute who blackmailed her 85-year-old lover made the headlines. The local tabloids referred to Elias as the ebony enslaver. Oh, man. And the Negro enchantress. And her neighbors, who until then thought she is Cuban or East Indian because of her light skin, realized that a Black woman is living in their prestigious neighborhood. After the trials, Elias moved to Harlem. She purchased several properties, became the real estate empress of the neighborhood. She teamed up with the real estate
developer John Nail, and together they turned Harlem into a safe zone for Black New Yorkers. By the end of the 1910s, Elias left for Europe, never to return. Her death date is unknown. I'm sorry. This is the illest woman ever. Oh man, you can't make a story like this up. You can't, like, who is this chick? But you want to tell me that Blacks ain't been doing nothing in America but being slaves? Yeah, right. This woman was living in a 20-room mansion. Blacks been balling. Like, all boss moves. She winning in court against a white man. Things is ruling in her favor against the white man. Right? Blacks been balling. Hey, Blacks been balling. I can't make this up. You can't make this up. She's called the Negro and the Ebony Enslaver. All y'all talking about divestment. This is real divestment. This is how you divest. If you're gonna divest, I'm putting her in the chat. We're Hannah at, because this is just on another level, right? Like, who is living like this at this time? White women ain't even living like this. She's living in Central Park, a 20-room mansion, real estate. Like, this is balling at another level. So when I say oppression, where I mean it. Y'all gotta give me a Blacks been balling off that. I mean, this is a story that if you wrote a movie about it, like, yo, this is a hell of a life. Then she moves to London. You don't even know if what happened to her. That's gangster. Y'all got to give me a Blacks been balling. Y'all got to give me Blacks been balling, man. Right? I got receipts that these Black folks been balling. I think y'all scared of Blacks been balling. Because it's gonna shape, it's gonna turn that talking point that many of you say, money ain't everything. These people not saying that though. The reason why many of y'all can say money ain't everything is because they already put the work in. So you're afforded a certain type of status in the world. So that's why you say money ain't everything. But was it everything to her? And look at her give back. She purchased several properties and became a real estate empress of the neighborhood. She teamed up with real estate developer John Nail, and they turned Harlem into a safe zone for Black New Yorkers. From a prostitute to a real estate empress. And her final hurrah was, I'm out on you niggas. Peace. I don't owe you nothing. That's gangster. Hannah Elias. This is the link in the chat. I done ran through some incredible women. Man. Oh, man. I just took somebody down. Who was that? Wait, more balling Blacks? More? It can't be more. I'm missing somebody. All right, we'll just go with this. More balling Blacks? Jeez. Does the balling ever stop? No. Colonel John McKee. Somebody just put me on him the other day in my chat. I'm like, I ain't know nothing about this dude. This is how many blacks be balling, right? Look, Colonial John McKee, wealthiest African American at his death in 1902. Look, blacks been balling so much that nobody could get the story right. One person is the richest, this other person is the richest, right? They can't even get the story right. Look, an article from the Philadelphia Inquirer purchased on April 8th, 1902 announced the death of Colonial John McKee with the title, Richest Colored Man Passes Away, and the subheading, Colonial John McKee, whose wealth is estimated at $2 million. $2 million. Victim of paralysis. Veteran of the Civil War, owned many houses in the city and acres of farmland, but lived unostentatiously. The article title points to Colonial John McKee's financial status and achievement. The subtitle details his acquisition, the cause of his death, his military background, while giving insight to how he was perceived and read in 19th and 20th century American society. Owned many houses in city and acres of farmland, but lived unostentatiously. Who was Colonial John McKee? John McKee, this is him, right? Not a do-rag in sight, all right? Was born to enslaved parents in Alexandria, Virginia, around 1819, where he lived until the age of 21. Records of John's registration in Virginia in 1838 reads, John McKee is a bright mulatto boy, about 19 years old, 5 feet 4 inches tall, who is straight built with light-colored eyes. He was born free, as appears by oaths of Betsy Beckley and Fanny Beckley Winfrey. The registration indicates that John McKee was born free, even though some historians contend that he was enslaved and set free in his teens. Besides this disagreement of his status at birth, researchers agree that John was a bricklayer before leaving Virginia. During his indenture as a brickmaker, John ran to Baltimore, Maryland, and was brought back to complete his apprenticeship. Little is known about John's parents except for the fact that one was probably white, given he was registered as a bright mulatto boy after completing his indenture. John left for Philadelphia at age 21, where he worked at a livery stable, then with a successful black restaurateur named James Prosser on Market Street. Let me write his name down. See, they be throwing in names. Hold on, I never heard of him. Let me put him on my list. James Prosser. So he on restaurants, huh? You see? You see how you could get other details from reading this shit? Right? Okay. James Prosser, Philadelphia. I will be looking up him and putting him into my black ballers list. Right? So I'm learning as I go. John married Prosser's daughter, Emmeline, and later ran the restaurant until 1866. Using the capital provided by his wife, he invested in real estate, started buying houses, and became a real estate mogul. Hold up. Here's the big lie about the high value man. A lot of the high value men get the startup from their wifey. They will just have you to believe that the woman played no role in his success and he was all the way built up. And then he met the wife. No. What does this say? Using the capital provided by his wife, he invested in real estate, started buying houses, and became a real estate mogul. That's what they're not telling you. The reason why many black men get on and they marry and date a preference is to hide the fact of where he got the money from. Because if he stays with the black woman, then he has to admit that she has played a instrumental role in his success. But if he gets with the preference, he can talk and have the woman that was with him on the grind removed from the conversation. It's a science to that shit. But y'all don't hear me though. That is a reason why many black males get on and deal with the so-called preference, because he does not have to talk about the fact that a woman cashed in her 401k or gave her savings up or was instrumental behind the scenes in administration, filling out the apps, creating the resume, on the grind, 10 toes with him. They don't want to tell that story. They want to tell the story of, so I got here all by myself. Yeah, right. Okay. So this been going on. Using the capital provided by his wife, he invested in real estate, started buying houses, and became a real estate mogul. In fact, this income tax year, it's going to be women giving their income tax to their boyfriend so he can flip it or try to make something happen. This is not new. They are capping. All right, this is his military history, so we'll read that. When the Civil War started, John joined the National Guard of Pennsylvania and courageously fought for the North. He rose to become colonial of the 13th Regiment in 1870, which consisted of black volunteers who fought for the North during the Civil War in the 5th Brigade under General Louis Wagner. John also became colonial of the 8th New Jersey Colored Regiment. Veteran of the Civil War, he later became known as Colonial John McKee. Colonial John McKee's wealth. Colonial John McKee was a real estate tycoon. On April 12, 1902, a few days after his death, the Baltimore Afro-American Ledger newspaper published the following article: a colored millionaire who owned thousands of acres of real estate passed away. The inductionary paragraph. Okay. Let me see. Want this nigga in the country. Okay. This is a paragraph from the newspaper that was published right here, right? A colored millionaire who owned thousands of acres of real estate passes away. John McKee, Philadelphia's richest Negro, dead, right? Listen to this man's balling. Are y'all ready? In this city, Colonial McKee, at the time of his death, owned 300 to 400 houses, each of them unencumbered. He was the founder and owner of McKee City on the West Jersey Railroad, New Jersey, a tract of 4,500 acres divided into 21 farms. He also owned about 300,000 acres of coal and oil land in Kentucky and in Logan County, West Virginia, a tract of 21 acres at 5th Street and Oregon Avenue in this city, over 23,000 acres of land in Bath and Steuben counties, New York, a farm of 60 acres at Croydon on the Delaware River, besides many other properties in Pennsylvania and other states. What? Do you hear all the places this man has land? Do you hear the balling? Right? So this is another thing from another paper. Speaking last night of Mr. Colonial McKee's wealth, Mr. Burr said that he owned 300 houses in the city worth at least $500,000. back then, and that he possessed 200,000 acres of ore, farm, and coal lands in Martin and Johnson counties, Kentucky, Logan County, Illinois, and West Virginia, besides farmlands in Georgia, New York, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. Among his holdings was a splendid farm of 66 acres near Croydon, Bucks County. In New Jersey, he owned a whole settlement of McKee on the West Jersey Railroad. The town consists of 22 farms of acres each, besides 1,800 additional acres on each farm. He had erected buildings valued at 2,500, a total of 55,000. How y'all want to deal with this? How y'all want to deal with this? Did you hear all of the balling? Did you hear all of the balling? Let's go through the balling one more again. At the time of his death, this black man, he died in 1902. Okay? This black man in the same country that y'all say y'all hate, in the same country that you hate capitalism, and you said that we ain't never did this and never did that. In this same country, Colonial McKee, at the time of his death, owned 300 to 400 houses, each of them encumbered. He was the founder and owner of McKee City on the West Jersey Railroad, New Jersey, a tract of 4,500 acres divided into 21 farms. He also owned about 300,000 acres of coal and oil land in Kentucky and in Logan County, West Virginia, a tract of 21 acres at 5th Street and Oregon Ave. In this city, over 23,000 acres of land in Bath and Steuben counties, New York, a farm of 66 acres at Crondon on Delaware River, besides many other properties in Pennsylvania and other states. I need somebody to put in the chat that black's been balling. Oh, it's Colonel. That's a colonial. Look, I ain't never say reading was my specialty. Colonel. But it looks like colon now. Like colonial. It's weirder. Somebody put black's been balling, please. Because this is another level of balling to the point where I'm like, yo, what other proof do you need that these people are sitting up here lying to you, selling you a victim narrative? Do y'all not get it? They are lying. They do not want, and when I say they, I'm talking about Step and Fetch It, Handkerchief Head, Crocodile Tears, Surly Caesar listening to, Lincoln Navigator with rims driving, Brownstone living, politicians that live in DC and Atlanta. Telling y'all about race all damn day. As if that's going to get you out of your situation. These people wasn't caring about no damn reparations. They was getting it out the mud. Black's been balling, man. Hashtag black's been balling. Did I make my point? I don't need to talk about no other ballers, right? Because I have more. But did I make my point? If y'all say I made my point, we don't have to go through this again. Because I got more ballers. If I made my point, we can just stop right there and just decompress from all the acres that we're hearing and all the real estate. That's one thing you keep hearing. Land, 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 real estate, real estate, real estate. Then people knew something. Then people, they ain't wear one dashiki neither. They ain't wear one dashiki. They didn't say ashe. They didn't say none of that. They ain't say chakras. How come we saying chakras, ashe, hotep, got all the dashikis, all the tree bark, and all the dreads, but we're poorer than them, and they have all the Bibles, all the Americanism, all the Civil War history, all the slavery, and they're richer. Make that make sense? But we got all the books though. That's, look, if we made our point that we could go ahead and go home. If y'all say that we made our point, because I got a couple more ballers. If y'all want to see the balling, we can. But if we made our point and you want to, you know what I'm saying? Man, do you want to see more ballers? All right, I'm gonna give you one more baller. All right. I'm gonna give you one more baller, right? All these lies. Ooh, hold on. The sun coming through. Let me see if I can get an angle so it hit these things crazy. Ooh, come through. Oh, there it go. There it go. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Look at God. You see how God works? See that? We don't just come through with balling blacks. We come through with our hair laid to the gods. You see that? Cowabunga, get your surfboard. Gnarly, dude. Yeah, go get your surfboard. And you know who's not allowed to come to my swim party? None of you dudes that want to be cuddled, right? That want to be held by so-called massa, and you want him to give you jobs, and you want him to be nice to you, and you want him to sing songs like this. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. A lullaby. Yeah. Yeah. Woogity woogity there. Woogity woogity. Give you another baller. Matter of fact, since you people like love to talk about Black Wall Street so much, I'm gonna give you one from there. Because y'all don't never say this man's name. He's a Black Wall Street, Black Wall Street. What the man's name is? W.O. Gurley in this thing. Right? Another black baller. Ottawa, or W or O.W. Gurley, is remembered was one of the wealthiest men in Tulsa, Oklahoma before 1921. Tulsa massacre destroyed his property and forced him to flee. Ottawa Gurley was born on Christmas Day in 1868 to freed slaves in Huntsville, Alabama. Gurley grew up in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. He was self-educated and eventually married his childhood sweetheart, Emma. After a brief time as a teacher, he worked at a U.S. Postal Service. I thought y'all told me welfare took these men out the home. No. The men you're talking about voluntarily left the home. And no welfare take these men out the home. Wasn't no baby mamas in Black Wall Street. In 1893, Gurley participated in the Cherokee Outlet Land Rush in Indian Territory and staked a claim in Perry Noble County. Gurley ran unsuccessfully for treasurer of Noble County, but later became principal of the town school and operated a general store in the community. In 1905, Gurley and his wife sold their property in Noble County and moved 80 miles to the oil boom town of Tulsa. Gurley purchased 40 acres of land in North Tulsa and established his first business, a rooming house on a dusty road that would become Greenwood Avenue. He subdivided his plot into residential and commercial lots and eventually opened a grocery store. As the community grew around him, Gurley prospered. Between 1910 and 1920, the population in the area he purchased grew from 2,000 to 9,000 in a city with a total population of 72,000. The Black community had a large working class population, as well as doctors, lawyers, and other professionals who provided services to them. Soon, the Greenwood section was dubbed Negro Wall Street by Tuskegee educator Booker T. Washington. Did y'all know that? Many of y'all say the name Black Wall Street, but did you know where the name came from, though? Coined by Mr. Booker T. Washington himself. Greenwood, now called Black Wall Street, was nearly self-sufficient with Black-owned businesses, many initially financed by Gurley, ranging from brickyards to theaters to a chartered airplane company. Gurley built the Gurley Hotel at 112 North Greenwood and rented out spaces to smaller businesses. His other properties included a 2-story building at 119 North Greenwood, which housed the Masonic Lodge, and a Black employment agency. He was also one of the first founders of Vernon AME Church. Gurley's prosperity ended in the 1921 racial tension. In 1921, racial tensions in Tulsa, which had been rising since the Red Summer of 1919, finally erupted on May 30th, 1921. Dick Rowland, a Black teenager, was accused of sexually assaulting Sarah Page, a white woman. In response, a white mob formed intent on lynching Rowland was held at the county courthouse. Gurley, a sheriff's deputy charged with patrolling the Black community, tried to make peace as racial tensions flared. When Blacks vowed to protect Rowland from lynching and descended on the county courthouse, a scuffle between a white man and a Black man erupted in gunfire and sparked what many would call the Tulsa Massacre. The interesting thing about this story and how it's told, these Negroes keep telling you that these people went and just burned this shit down just cuz. That's not true, or else it would have been burnt down. It was a riot, right? The community decided to protect an individual, and the white men did what white men do. Had they gave up that individual, that wouldn't have happened. So, this teaching that Black Wall Street was just thriving, and then one day they went over there and burnt it down just cuz. That's not true. It was a riot. And if anybody should be upset, it's Mr. Gurley and his family. How y'all more upset than his family? Black Wall Street, you ain't even related to them people. That ain't your kin. Because if it was, it would be in your blood to ball right now. By the time the massacre ended in the morning, June 2nd, approximately 300 Black people were killed. Black Wall Street was burned to the ground, and Gurley had lost the majority of his estimated fortune, $200,000. Gurley was arrested for exciting the conflict, but implicated 2 other Black leaders, fellow wealthy businessman J.B. Stafford and J.B. Stafford, Black's been balling. Hold up. Who's J.B. Stafford? And newspaper editor A.J. Smitherman. I don't know if he's a baller, but I'm going to write him down just so I can look at him. But we got J.B. Stratford. It says, fellow wealthy businessman. Okay, another Black baller. Black's been balling. I've been telling you. He fled to Los Angeles, California, where he and his wife ran a small hotel. O.W. Gurley died 14 years later. So he went to LA and ran a hotel too. So the individual they love to talk about Black Wall Street, but they never say this man's name. It's W.O. Gurley. He is the individual that started Greenwood Avenue, financed it, because he's a baller like the rest of the people I've been telling you about. But the only reason these people even talk about Black Wall Street is because it's pain. They don't talk about the entrepreneurship or people were married. That's why they don't talk about Annie Malone, because she didn't get lynched. If it's pain associated with it, then the Negro will discuss it. But if it's no pain, you could just go on my Facebook. These niggas love pain. But shout out to Mr. Gurley, because they never say his name. There is no Black Wall Street without O.W. Gurley and his financing of other people's business. That's how this started. And he's such a baller that he went to LA, he went to Cali, and did another hotel. See, when it's in you, it's in you. Don't talk to me about no Black Wall Street and you ain't trying to start no business. You only want to debate Black Wall Street, Black Wall Street. But I just showed you. Uh-oh, here we go. Hold on, let me find that spot where them things was hitting. Them things is staying. Hold up. They'll talk about my eye, though. They won't talk about these things, though. Yeah, we going on 40. Head full of hair, baby. Yes, sir. You lucky. The sun move. Let me see. Yeah, buddy. Oh, we don't even need the sun. Yeah, black's been balling. You see? How y'all going? Yeah. Nah. What is my point? What is my point to showing all these people? I've showed you people that had acres and acres of land. I showed you Hannah Elias that lived in a 20-room mansion, right? What do they show you? Lynching. What do they show you? Sprayed with hoses. Why? Because that plays on your psyche. And Bruce Lipton talks about the biology of belief. When we begin to believe something, we have an emotional response to it. And that emotional response starts to reconfigure, right? Our DNA. This is why if I say the word oppression, people go crazy, right? For the last couple days, I've been showing success stories on my Facebook with the caption, oppression where? Do you know what people want to talk about? But I get it because I know who I'm dealing with. Not the success of the person, right? They want to talk and convince me about oppression, right? Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Let me tell you what they're actually under. Let me show you something. Because the definition still saved it. Look at the second definition of the word oppression. This is what these people are under. Right? A sense of being weighed down in body or mind. Depression. The victim narrative that these people are under is depressing them so badly that their outlook on the world is grim. Their energy is low. They are unenthusiastic. They're not being an asset to anybody. And they can only see life one way. So when I show these balling blacks, it triggers a very insecure thing. This was a great bill. We found out about some very triumphant, balling ass people And since it's this quote Black History Month, I'm only talking about the ballers because I didn't even show all my ballers. I have more ballers. So there's going to be a Black's Been Ballin Part 2 and a Part 3 because the history of the Black capitalist is a history that does not get discussed nor talked about. And there is a reason for that. And we will crack open that reason. Any questions? I'm not going to put the link in the chat for no smoke because I know when I do that, you never come up. But you'll wait to comment on my Facebook page, though. So this is going to be a compilation, a continuation of Balling Blacks. So you can take what you hear and you can use it for yourself, man. Because underachieving is not a good look, right? Not trying, not being the best. That's not a good look. Especially when you got the tools and you get to stand on the backs, not just of people that were hung, but people that made millions. Annie Malone's company in 1920 was $14 million, adjusted for inflation, $106 million business. But you want to talk to me about an NFL coach that is suing because of racism? I'm going to just let you see my waves. That's... Let me tell you why. It's a good question. It's majority Black men trying to convince me, right? The reason why Black men are not telling the whole story, they don't know it, too. And then there is a billion-dollar economy to tell the Black man that he's targeted and that he's a victim. And that the reason why he can't move forward is because of systematic racism. But here is the interesting thing of the Black man when he believes that. He doesn't extend that same grace to Black women, though. Only him, right, is systematically oppressed. So whatever behavior he has or whatever thing he does that makes him unsuccessful, he can lean on the narrative of the system being against him. However, if a Black woman is dysfunctional or she is going through things, it's not because of her, right? It's because of bitter Black women. It's because of she needs to choose better. The Black man's excuse for his failure is the system. The Black woman's excuse for her failure, according to the Black man, is because she got daddy issues or welfare, or she doesn't get the same grace. But the reason why the story is told the way it is, it's all about victimization. The Black male, if told no one time, will... Do I need to get my baby again? Do we need to go through this again? I think we do. So you have a firm understanding about the Black man in America right now, right? Do I need to get my baby and rock my baby to sleep? The Black man wants to be this to the U.S. government, to private investors. He wants his hair recognized. He wants his behavior condoned. He doesn't want to be chastised when he's doing wrong. He wants to talk to police any kind of way, do anything with no pushback. He wants to be able to go into billionaire NFL companies and tell them how they should hire. He wants to be in the bosom of the system, and the system treat him like this. Shh, listen. He's sleeping. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. And the Black man yells, yeah, yeah. Racism, oppression. I'm right? The black man yells, hire me at your job. And the white boss yells back while he's rocking him to sleep, woogity woogity, nigger. Woogity woogity. Shh. Right? That's how it goes. So the story is not being told for victim reasons, right? Because it's so much bread, it's so much money in keeping these people depressed. I'm gonna bask in that sun, you see? Skin on 1,000. I also follow a philosophy called black arrogance too. And you got to be a little arrogant in the world that tells you you're oppressed and you're a slave and you're targeted. So you have to practice a little black arrogance, right? See that sun? Yeah, that's what you got to do sometimes, y'all. Because these people talk about your mama and talk about your eye, and they'll be real nasty. If this is true, where were their family? Y'all don't understand that y'all are great PR for white people. If I was a white dude and I needed a self-esteem boost, I would just go into a black room on social media and listen to you talk about whites all day. Right? You'll make the lowest, poorest white dude feel very good about himself. You know how this sounds? I bet when they died, whites took their money. Okay, then the question would be, what was the nigs doing when the whites were taking their money? How come it's so easy to take from the nig? Why is it so easy? Is there any defensive maneuvers that the black male has or black people have when somebody's taking something from you? Right? See, I don't tell that story. I tell the story of O.W. Gurley, John McKee, Hannah Elias. I tell the story of blacks been balling. Y'all tell the story of blacks been losing. We're different. And I'd rather be on the beach, the yacht, and have dinner with those people that share my ideology than the blacks been losing. Because when I get my money in over at your crew, y'all gonna be all in my pocket talking about what am I gonna do for the community. In my crew, we're all gonna get our money and put it in a pot, right? And try to learn investment banking together, right? And start with our, I got 10, you got 10, you got 10. Let's put it together. Get her 10. Let's put it all in a pot and put it on them units right there. Your crew is going to look at the money that we're making and we're flipping and then try to rob us. Before I get out of here, man, can I get a Black's Been Ballin'? But if anybody wants smoke about Black's Been Ballin', I will drop the link or the number for you to call in. All you got to do is press 1. And you can tell me why you believe that I'm capping about Black's Been Ballin'. I'll give that 2 minutes. If you believe that I'm capping about Black's Been Ballin', I'll give you the link. And you can tell me that I'm capping, or you can call in. Otherwise, Hezzy, When y'all in y'all crib just moving around, just be like, oop, hezzy, oop, oop, oop. That's what I'm talking about. Blacks, you see? Thank you for coming around. Blacksbeenballin, I appreciate you. Man, Kelly, Blacksbeenballin, that's right. Triple B, Carvis, shout out to you. You know what I'm saying? Any more Blacksbeenballin before I get out of here? Shout out to Mika with the Blacksbeenballin. So when you ace your college test, whatever you doing, just think of them triple B's and do your hezzy, do your AI move, right? Carolyn with the Blacksbeenballin. We need them shirts. Blacksbeenballin. Yeah. Blacksbeenballin. Shout out to Wana with the Blacksbeenballin. Z coming through with the Blacksbeenballin. Anybody else? Tammy with the Blacksbeenballin. Man, that's what I'm talking about. Desiree Love with the Blacksbeenballin. So Ken is proving that race is not the issue, it's class. Some blacks, regardless of slavery, decided to be ballers. Others decided to be victims. Everybody can go, right? Everybody can go, right? This balling shit is a decision. And you might not get there, but your children might be the ones to take it further. You know what I mean? Shout out to JJ with the Blacksbeenballin. Sharon coming through with the BBB crew. Sharon, make sure you do the hezzy, the head, your jab step, finger roll, jelly. You know what I'm saying? You could do the lay, the mailman, the lay with the Dougie. You could do the Dougie lay. You could do that. You know what I'm saying? You can do the Kobe, Blacksbeenballin. You know what I'm saying? You could do the Euro step to balling. That shit is in our blood. Shout out to Tam Speaks with the Blacksbeenballin. Hashtag Blacksbeenballin. So anytime they're talking about oppression, anytime that, mute. Do we know that life is hard? Hell yeah. Are there people that's going to try to take your shit? Hell yeah. Is life going to always go your way? No. No. What makes you a baller is because you're willing to study longer than everybody else. You're willing to work harder than everybody else. You're willing to do the other things other people wait to get to achieve and get past a challenge. That's what makes you a baller. Does oppression exist? Humans are wicked. So it's always going to be someone that's trying to put you down. However, where there's a will, there's a way. Right? Sometimes you got to go over them. Talking about we go high, they go high, we go low. Man, yeah, right. Or what is it? They go low, we go high. Man, listen. Solve your problems by balling. Reno with a Blacksbeenballin. Anybody else before I get out of here? Because I want to put you in the algorithm of the ballers. Shout out to y'all for balling. And since all of y'all are balling, y'all balling asses, hit my Cash App with your balling asses. Just let me know that all of y'all is balling and Black's been balling. So go ahead and hit the Cash App because Black's been balling. Nah, shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. We're going to do a part 2 to Black's Been Balling because I didn't even cover everybody, right? So we are going to come with our own narrative over here and do our own thing, right? So with your balling asses, and you all agree that you're balling. So go ahead and put some of them coins into that app. You know what I'm saying? Everybody doing different things, bro. You know what I'm saying? It was a good ride while it lasted. Ask him that. Ask him. But let me get out of here. Before I get out of here, I want y'all to know about a special ability I have, right? Special ability. I am a superhero, but I have a different kind of power, right? I don't fly. I don't have things coming out of my eyes. I don't do none of that, right? I can't climb walls like Spider-Man. I can't be like Professor X and put cerebral on. I don't control metal, but I have another ability. I got waves. So till the next time, y'all be safe. Y'all take care of each other. Love yourself. Stay 10 toes. Remember, y'all put something down to pick something up. My name is Ken Billions. Blacksbeenballin.
Biggest game is like, remember we was all back in high school? Some of you may be still in high school or whatever, but follow me. We had the regular class and then you had honors class. And I feel like Ken Billions' game is nothing but honors class. Everything that you learned in life and been through in life, or whatever he's talking about at that certain time. And, like point of reference, game for guys. Everybody learn game from somebody and this and that, and it's all over the place. But once I listened to Game for Guys, it was like being in an honors class. Ken is a brilliant guy. I still listen to him to this day. Listen to him almost every other day. And I stay studying, and if I look at his video and he's giving us homework, I'm gonna look through that video. I'm gonna write my notes down. I'm gonna do my homework. Then I'm gonna watch the next video. I mean, you just can't get enough of the game and the knowledge that this brother brings to you. He's allowed me to look back into history, my own history. I found out about black people that I never even knew about, black millionaires and people like that. Recently, I learned about the reticular activating system, and that's something that I'm studying up on as we speak, which I plan on reprogramming myself. You know what I'm saying? So overall, the Ken Billions game has done a lot for me. It's allowed me to elevate as a man, as a father. It just allowed me to be more excited about life and not be in the program of being oppressed. And that's one of the main things for me that I have to say that this game has done for me. And I'm so glad that I ran across it.